Right then, we're back by popular demand.
What episode number is this now?
Is it 3 or is it 4?
I think it's 4, you know.
4, wow.
I think it's 4, that is some commitment. Like, to get to all the way to episode 4, you know, we're going for it now, aren't we?
We are the longest lasting Colls podcast. First episode was November 2019.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Me and Gibbo talking about when we first arrived in this league.
Yeah.
And so much of it is still...
Yeah.
We're talking about like Baseford.
Yeah.
Insisting we pronounce it as Baseford.
The return of this season as well. We've had a respite from the mispronunciations of Baseford, Basford.
And then they spelt Collieries wrong.
Yeah. Hilarious.
So, yeah.
We'll see you next Saturday, Baseford. We'll see you next Saturday.
No, you won't see me.
No, you'll see me next Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks a lot to the people, for the kind words, people who've watched and enjoyed it. Makes it all worthwhile. And these are pretty easy to do when there's no technical problems.
Yeah. Touch wood.
Yeah.
And it's nice, really, isn't it? Because we only exist in our four walls, don't we? So it's like we're doing this, and we like, do people actually enjoy it? Do you know what I mean? And it seems like the majority are, which is fantastic. So yeah.
One thing I wanted to say was we're in the home changing rooms.
Yeah.
I was hoping to film an episode when there was all kit, just because it would dampen the sound a little bit. Yeah. So there's a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have a word with Steve at some
more
point.
padded out, absolutely. Yeah.
But this is the home changing room.
It is.
And this has always been, during my time, the home changing room. But I believe that last season...
It was, this was the away
swapped
changing
over.
room. Yeah. And I don't particularly know why, but it did. So this is, we're back in our home changing room. And this almost, it naturally feels like a home changing room, doesn't it? Because if you've never seen the changing rooms here at the Schooner, this is in like a horseshoe shape, really. So everybody's looking at everybody else. Whereas the away changing rooms, the ones we used for home last season, it's almost like an L shape. So I always feel like this is good for kind of, the team talks and stuff like that. But I think last season they put a bit of television up on the wall. I think they used that for a lot of instruction last season. So there is a big TV here though. So who knows? It's interesting though. I always think it's interesting the different approach managers take. These little subtle little things that can make a difference.
On the original episodes, we did have a show, a clip of the formation board.
Oh right, yeah.
Where you can see like Gaz and whatever, and the formation board is over here.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
It is. I mean, and do you know what? I'm glad we didn't put it in. Actually, we don't want to reveal too much because we're an unknown entity this season. There's no Gazes, there's no laughs or anything like that. So we don't want to give away that element of surprise.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons we don't put a lot of stuff out. I think we're a bit candid about doing that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. Yeah. Sure.
So this is a little bit later than planned. Our season preview.
Yeah.
We're just going to wrap up.
I was on holiday. Sorry, I was catching the sun, the Portuguese sun. But hey,
it's
I'm back.
Hard life.
Yeah.
So we went to Trafford.
Yeah.
And we let you were there. We let 2 goals in the first half. Both from set pieces. One from a free kick. One for a throw in. If you watch the video, you can hear me berating
an exasperated side. It was a funny one, wasn't it, Trafford? And I think it was a really good test. And to be honest, we're filming this the Thursday after the win against Bradford Park Avenue. And I think you can see what we've learned from games like that Trafford game. Do you know what I mean? Because we're a lot more aware when it comes to set pieces. And for me, when we were 2-0 down, I thought, right, so this is the test now. It's a test of character almost. What can we get back? And the game finished 2-2, and there were 2, brilliant goals, weren't they? Really, especially the equaliser.
I didn't capture Nathan Kane's goal very well because I was filming on
You're on a funny angle, weren't you?
Which I knew I was going to be.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Trafford.
No.
It's, it's
nature of the beast, isn't it? Yeah.
But we've caught that Ben Rydell strike.
Yeah.
We did say there was plenty to come from Ben Rydell.
Yeah.
We've caught that.
And it was gorgeous. And I actually shouted. I saw him go for it, and I was stood behind John Madden, and I said, "No, don't shoot." They were literally my words. I'm like, "No, don't shoot." I thought he was way too far out, and he struck it, and he just flew into the back of the net. And John Madden just turned around to me and pointed at me and laughed, saying, "Don't shoot! Look at that." So, but that was great, I thought, because, to come back from 2-0 down in a game that means nothing, because it's a pre-season friendly, it is meaningless.
Yeah.
I think is brilliant and shows character and shows that it showed to me that sure we've got 1,000 new faces wearing black and white straps, but that kind of core identity of pride, do you know what I mean?
As well.
And the quality was really pleasing to see. So it was a bad day turned good in the end, I thought. Yeah.
Like we've sat here saying, "Oh yes, we'll have a team, and and these players will be good." We saw Ben Rydell produce straight off.
Absolutely.
Then we moved into the Widnes game.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so over to you.
Okay. No, I wasn't. But no disrespect. I wasn't massively impressed by Widnes. But they've had a really good start to the season. They beat Bootle last night, so it shows what I know. But I think it's their number 5. Definitely had sleepless nights about Jordan Scanlon.
Really?
He tore him to pieces.
Really?
We put some highlights out, didn't we? It was just the second half because it was easier for me to do. That second goal is just so composed.
Yeah.
So composed.
And it's the quality he's carried into the season, is it? Because I forget he's only 19 years old.
Yeah, it's scary.
Which is mad.
Yeah.
Because he plays with such maturity and such confidence, doesn't he? That you don't really see 19-year-olds at this level.
No.
Maybe on an academy pitch, but not at this level.
The thing that I thought was that Chaddy's had a job here to construct a whole new team.
Yeah.
And he's brought in some great experience in, Josh Askew and Jordan Fagbola.
Yeah.
And to say that Lewis Mansell up front has got a lot of experience. He's like 24, 25.
Yeah.
But to say I'm going to trust a 19-year-old kid also, that's just such a brave thing to do.
Well, it sort of suggests trust, doesn't it? Like he knows he's got something special, and that's great. And Widnes, that number 5, I'm sure, was really experienced at this level, and to play against him with such skill, quality, and to even attempt the kind of things he was attempting, kind of shows that Scanlon trusts himself too, which is a brilliant quality to have. And I think it's something we don't really see from young players at this level. I think they sometimes bury their head in the sand when they see this kind of 6'5", both high and wide
Jordan
defender.
Really look after himself.
Yeah, and he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So then we moved on to the Witten Albion game. I wasn't here. I was in London. You were away.
Yeah.
I've watched it back.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
Yeah.
Witten are a good side. John Macken's the manager, and he's filled the squad out with players from Radcliffe when they got promoted.
Right.
Behind us.
Right.
So Elliot Rocker.
Yeah.
Elliot Rocker was here. Elliot Rocker, when he was originally at Radcliffe, got a move to Tranmere Rovers. He's really, really good. And I don't think we ever saw...
We never saw the best of Elliot. I always thought he was a very frustrating player to watch, because you could tell he had the quality in him, but it never came out. And I think Elliot was frustrated here. I think he knew that. Do you know what I mean? He knew that for some reason it wasn't clicking. He sort of had 2 spells here, didn't he, Elliot?
Yeah.
And he was much better in his second spell, but there was something that just didn't quite click when he put on that black and white shirt, and that's fine. That happens sometimes, and he remains a friend of the club. He came down a couple of times
he was
last
at the
season.
Southport game.
Yeah, of course he was. Yeah. Which is fantastic, and I think he knows that. Whilst it didn't quite click for him on the pitch, off the pitch he received just as much support and he was so nice and took so much time and care.
The one thing I'd say about Elliot Rocker was he was the player who messaged me every game asking for the footage to watch back.
Right. Well,
it's really rare for people to do that. To care enough that
Absolutely.
I'm going to sit down Wednesday morning and watch my own the performance.
Definitely. Again, commitment.
But John Macken knows how to get the best out of him, and the weather was awful. Second half, it was belting down, and I think Elliot scored 2 of the goals. He arrived late and buried them. Yeah, well played.
I think what I would say is Witten have always been somewhat of a bogey team for us as well.
Yeah.
Like, not last season, the season before when they got relegated from this division. I think we lost against them at their place when they were going through a really bad patch.
Yes, I went to that game.
I think we lost 2-0.
We were awful.
We were poor. And I think then we drew when they came here. I think that might have even been 0-0 or 1-1. And then last pre-season we played them, and we beat them 1-0, only just. Like, it wasn't a good performance at all, and it was just, I think it might have been Ethan Kershaw that scored. So what I will say is, for some whatever reason, and you have those teams, don't you? Yeah, we never are at our best against Witton Albion. And I think ultimately, what we've got to remember is, and we're sort of linking here to the start of the Whitby game in, Chaddy's always done a fantastic job at getting 15 faces in, do you know what I mean? More, right? And so for every game, we have been the underdogs because we've got strangers playing on the same team. Yeah. And we're playing against established teams with established squads.
They are.
So they've got that natural advantage, haven't they?
They were an established side. Of
course they were.
Under John from last season, plus, you know, his experience with the same players at Radcliffe.
Definitely. And whereas the whole point of this pre-season campaign for us was literally to allow the Cat lads to work out, right, what can you do, what can't you do?
Yeah.
And so defeats were going to come, because that is the whole point of pre-season. Defeats, that game against Witton Albion was probably more helpful, arguably, than the game against Padiham.
I think Chaddy knows that.
And because it's all about finding out strengths and weaknesses. You'd rather find out the weaknesses in a pre-season game than in a competitive game. Definitely. 100%. And I think that was the theme going into Whitby, really. Yeah. Because just to kind of move onto that briefly, it's Whitby away is a tough start. A tough start because
they're kind of, every team's kind of an unknown quantity in a way.
But Whitby really are, because they're miles up north, aren't they? And it's never an easy place to go to. Even normally we get Whitby away in the depths of winter, right? Normally it's freezing. Normally it's dark. You know, from 3 p.m. the floodlights are on. But you know, even in summer, it's a tough journey physically to do.
Tell me about it.
Because it's like that long stretching A road right down into the town, you know, and I think there was an accident on the M62 when we went up, or one of the services were closed where we normally stop, and that knocked everything back. And it was always going to be a tough start, because when you get there, you're playing on this big pitch. It's a big pitch at Whitby. It's really big.
They brought it in.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
right,
they brought
interesting.
It in. Yeah.
But it's either way, like you say, they're an unknown quantity, because naturally being geographically where they are, they're kind of left to their own devices, aren't they? Yeah. We don't know anything about their player pool. No. Whereas, you know, the teams down here arguably are much of a muchness in terms of the type of player they attract. You know, there's very little difference between the player Hyde United attract and the players we attract, for example. So it was always going to be a tough start, wasn't it? Mix into that the fact we've got 14 debutants, I think, that game, or something like that, which is
Jordan Boone making his second debut at Whitby.
Yeah, so his second debut. So his first debut was against Whitby. Brilliant.
I think he only played one game.
Right, it wasn't many.
Yeah,
we've only got a picture of him in a yellow shirt.
Yeah.
So how was Whitby then?
Well, I set off at 10 in the morning and got back at 9 at night. So. It's a long day, but I made a special effort to see a bit of the coast.
Whitby,
so if I go back to the Widnes game, we brought in Dylan Moonan.
Yes.
Which I didn't know, and then I saw the team sheet, and Dylan had come into what we would call the city role.
Yeah.
That holding midfielder essentially. And then so Dylan is now the Dylan role. So Dylan, I spoke to Nathan's dad, and he knew him from Stalybridge last year when they had a really good run, but then they lost. I think Matty Carson, who plays this season in the Championship for Derby, he was there last season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as left back.
At Stalybridge?
Yeah, playing behind Nathan.
Good grief.
Yeah, so, and Dylan was in that side as well. And Kieran Summers as well, who we've not seen much of yet.
No, we've not yet, have we?
So hopefully, but Nathan's dad was saying what a good footballer he was as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we played Stalybridge at the end of the season, I don't know if Dylan was in that side, I can't remember now, but...
I don't think he was.
But even so, they played decent. For a team that had been relegated, they played decent football. Yeah. And to be honest, they'd only just been relegated. Like, I think there was 3 points in at the end, and we all know how competitive this league is, realistically.
Could have been anyone.
But welcome to Colls, Dylan.
Yeah, but Whitby. They clearly had done some homework on us, because they bombarded us.
Right.
We had the goals we let in at Trafford. They've obviously picked up that these guys, you know, are vulnerable from set pieces.
Yeah.
And that is what we're going to They had a guy taking throw-ins from anywhere in our half, anywhere. He was dropping it on the 6-yard line, and there was a huddle of players, and Jimmy said they'd play the percentages, and that's exactly, it works.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for them. But I'm going to clip in at some point our chances.
Yeah.
Because we should have scored at least one goal. We created some really good chances.
And I think that's what we sort of... So one thing I've learned from pre-season, and one thing I've said is we're not going to have many 0-0s this season. And I think that's fine. I think if anything we had... Well, we didn't have any 2 0-0s last season, to be fair. But it's like, put it this way, I don't think there's going to be many draws because going forward we look so creative. Do you know what I mean? At times we look unstoppable. And it's like you say, it's those little... so inevitably... with all that creative force going forward, there will be goals come, but it didn't quite click at Whitby, did it?
They had I think he's called Jerome Greaves.
Right.
He's huge.
Right. What is this? The goalkeeper?
No, the centre forward.
Fine. Okay.
The forward towered above Jordan Fagbola.
Right. I see.
Who is 6'5".
Yeah. Wow.
And so he was attracting Josh Askew and one of the centre backs. But the ball wasn't even going to him.
Yeah.
But he was taking up 2 defenders. And
it's clever.
Yeah.
It's simple, isn't it?
It worked.
It's simple. But there is no shame to lose, and I think we'll see this season. There's going to be no shame to lose 2-0 away at Whitby.
Well, they went and then beat Guiseley on
3-1, I think.
Yeah. So.
And Guiseley aren't going to roll over and have the bellies to go.
No.
And so they're clearly going to be a good side this season. That's what we talk about with unknown entities.
Yeah.
Whitby for the past couple of seasons have kind of been a bit lowly, I suppose. That kind of only just avoiding relegation, lower mid-table part of the table. But like we said, we don't know how they've recruited over the summer. We don't know what they're expecting themselves.
Yeah.
But clearly, 2 wins out of 2 for Whitby, they're going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They tested us.
Yeah.
But then we played Bradford Park Avenue, and I just showed them some respect. They didn't go for the set pieces option. They didn't bombard us any more than you usually would do.
But I think even when they did throw set pieces, like they had a spell, didn't they, Bradford, which will come onto the game properly, but like they had a spell, Bradford, of I think they had about like 4 corners in quick succession, and we dealt with it. We dealt with a lot of their sets, so it's almost like again the lessons were learned, and when you've got a completely new team, that's going to happen. It's going to happen for the first 10 games, isn't it, or so? Yeah. Because they're still figuring out who can deal with what. Oh, I can trust them to go for that ball. I'll sit back. I'll do that. Yeah. This. Oh, he's a great head of the ball. Jordan's going to get that. Whereas Booney might kind of sit back. Whatever. Right? They're going to learn. And I think
there was another thing about that game was it was really windy.
Whitby.
Yeah. It's always windy.
Oh my God.
And Booney couldn't play those balls.
Yeah.
They, the slightest bit of variation was taking them away from the intended destination.
And again, that would have been a learning point, in terms of perhaps
just keep it simple.
Yeah, and it's a new management team that might not have been to Whitby for a fair few years. Do you know what I mean? And they've not realised how tough physically the conditions are there. But on Tuesday we were really organised with those set pieces. If it wasn't Fagbola or Boone, it was Nico coming out with a big solid punch, and that's what you want. It clicked on Tuesday, didn't it, with the set pieces? I mean, we're looking here ironically at a laminate all about defending corners, aren't we? And you see that, and it's like, before we started filming, we're not going to reveal what it says, but I said, my God, you can tell they were well drilled on Tuesday because they defended corners. Every single ball was sent out, which is lesson learned. I'm
just looking at this. The first one we let in, I wasn't sure exactly what we were doing.
Was this at Whitby? Yeah.
I wasn't sure what we were doing. With whether it was it wasn't man to man.
Right.
Was it zonal? I'm not quite sure.
Fine. Yeah. But I mean, on Tuesday, it kind of seemed man to man, didn't it? So again, lessons learned. And it is. I mean, it's going to require a bit of patience this season, isn't it? Because to start the season with 15 new players or whatever, it's unheard of, isn't it? Yeah. And so it is. It's the nature of our beast this season, so they've got to get time to get to know each other. Playing in pre-season is a different beast.
Yeah, we saw
to
that.
Playing competitively.
Yeah, we saw that. The game kind of changed when Rio Pemberton came on and in that impact sub role.
Yeah.
and he played the ball down the line to Jordan. I know on Twitter it said it was Rio across the ball. It was Jordan put the ball beautifully in for Lewis Mansell to beautifully cut across his man, get a header on it, headed it down, and the keepers just managed to scoop it out. Whereas with their chances, Nico, not a chance. Could just, it was at his feet rather than bouncing up. So
tough shots to save them, aren't they?
I think it was Harvey Gregson dinked a ball over then to Rio. Acres of space in the box, and he's hit the ball cleanly, but it's just ever so wide. If that's on target, it's just in the net. It's in and then I think it was Rio again crossed the ball for Mo, and it did bobble. Like 8 yards out, and it's gone skywards.
And I think that was from what again I wasn't there, but from what people were saying, that was the encouraging thing coming out of Saturday. It's like sure, we've learned that lesson from dealing with set pieces early on. We've learned that teams are going to put us under pressure. That was dealt with on Tuesday, but also we could create chances. It's not like we were out and out of the game. Do you know what I mean? We were creating chances and we were taking the game to Whitby, which is all you need, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was encouraging in defeat.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
And the concern then is that we've got a home game on Tuesday and Chaddy alluded to it, didn't he? There is a little bit of pressure to get something out of that game. I don't think there's real pressure or expectation.
No.
Bradford Park Avenue coming down from the Conference North.
They're the favourites.
I was expecting them to be a really, really strong side. I'd watched their weekend game at home to Macclesfield, and Macclesfield looked really good.
And there's no shame to losing to Macclesfield. Would they lose 2-0 or something like that?
Plenty of teams will lose to Macclesfield.
Nature of the beast.
But Tuesday we were so good.
We were brilliant, and it's credit to Chaddy and the lads again, really, because still a very, very new team. Ultimately now 15 home debutants on Tuesday night. And after that extremely long day at Whitby, you're talking it's a good 12-hour day, if not more, to kind of look as fresh as they did was a real credit. And there's a word sort of linking back to the Whitby game, that another word that came out of that was they look very fit as a squad. We have got a fit squad. They didn't tire, and the legs were so fresh on Tuesday. And it was a really good game, that, against Bradford. I thought there were two teams of a similar ilk, I'd argue, just going for it. Yeah, it was competitive.
I didn't know anything really about them other than they're a big team from the Conference North. And when Jimmy said they play good football, I don't know. I kind of thought that because they were Conference North side, they'd be a bit more physical.
Bit direct.
And they actually did play decent stuff.
And it was at first, I think the first 10 minutes was ours. I thought, we kind of took control for the first 10 minutes. Probably, a lesson learnt from Whitby. And we were kind of passing it about a bit. We were looking at sort of playing
the interplay between the young lads.
Yeah.
Dylan, Nathan,
Harvey Gregson, Nathan Kenya,
Jordan dropping off.
Yeah.
It's so good to watch.
It is. And Lewis is clever, isn't he? I think Lewis is so clever with the way he positions himself, because defenders, similar to the guy at Whitby, defenders can't help but be conscious of him because he's such a big presence that he does pull a lot of the play. Even he might not touch the ball, but he's always moving.
So Lewis was at Atherton Stanley.
He was, yeah.
And Dylan Moon was at Atherton Stanley, and I saw them play a couple of years ago. They played a friendly at Ashton Town.
Oh right, and, brilliant!
And it was another 23 side.
Yeah.
So all young lads.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Carson, who we talked about before, played as well. John Coleman, who's the manager, he was constantly communicating with people.
Yeah.
So they've had that vast experience. Actually watching them during games.
And John Coleman takes no prisoners.
No,
he will make them work.
Yeah.
And I think we took the lead really through.
Well,
before that, Nico made the save. Was it after? Yeah.
Well, no, Nico made the save before.
Yeah.
I think before the first goal.
And I think just a shout out to Nico actually, because
we can clip in that save as well.
Yeah, across the two games.
He made a save at Whitby as well.
Yeah, across the two games, he got man of the match against Whitby.
He was, yeah.
And he got a clean sheet on Tuesday night, which is fantastic, I think, for Nico, and so well deserved. I mean, the save he made, which you're either going to clip it in or maybe an overlay, who knows, was quality.
I'm not the best at video
editing.
Fine.
But
I'll clip it in. Yeah.
Maybe now. But that save he made was superb because he was caught off guard, wasn't he? He was almost wrong-footed with the header, and it was cat-like reflexes, which is the generic term to describe it. But I've not seen Nico make a save like that in a long time. I mean, what we've got to remember about Nico is he joined us at the start of last season as somebody who was quite shy and quite timid on the pitch, and you could tell he'd just been playing academy football his entire career. And he really, really, really grew into the role of goalkeeper. And he started, initially he didn't really boss the box about, he kind of let it boss him, and he made some sharp stops, but very much from distance, and it tended to be the close range stuff that went in ultimately. So I think that's a part of his game Nico's really clearly worked on. He's become much more vocal. Some of the punches he was coming out with on Tuesday night, was it the punch that led to the second goal?
Yeah.
That's almost an assist. It's almost like a different keeper, and I can't underestimate that enough. He's grown in so much confidence, and that was coming, and it was such a shame he got injured last season when he did, because he was really, really growing into it, and he'd got that Northern Premier League experience, and he was using it. Now, obviously, he was injured. He's clearly been in the gym over summer. He's much bigger. He's much more vocal, and I'm so pleased and proud of Nico because he stayed at the club, and he's made, certainly these first two games anyway, the number one shirt his own. So honestly, Nico, well done, mate, because you have clearly worked hard, and such a nice bloke, and he just loves being here. So yeah, big well done to Nico.
So the first goal came from, if you roll it back, Nathan Kane runs at the number 2, and he goes past him with such ease. This sets the guy's confidence back then immediately for the whole game, because he knows that Nathan can go past him, and that causes the whole team to drop.
It's a tricky left wing we've got, isn't it? Because you've got Josh Askew and Nathan Kane, and they are too. I wouldn't want them running at me.
No quality. But then they've dropped. The balls come out, and Jordan Fagbo has put it in. And Lewis Mansell's just done Lewis Mansell things, hasn't he? He's held the ball up, and then the ball he's played through to Jordan Scanlon. But then Jordan's got so much to do.
He dances with the ball, doesn't he? It's like he turns right, then he turns left, then he finds a pocket of space, and he curls it into the corner. And this is all like having like 3 defenders around him, and he's got a tight pocket of space. But he does all that.
He's so good at finding a little bit of space. It's just such intelligence.
And it's that confidence. He doesn't get intimidated by these big guys. He just keeps true to himself. It's almost like he goes into his own head, ignores them, and just does his thing. And I mean, Chaddy said in his interview post-match, he said, his left foot's his weak foot. I mean, good grief.
Scary.
If that's his weak foot, then I dread to think what his right foot's capable of.
Shout out to Jordan's family, who are big fans of.
Absolutely, they had a selfie and a few autographs in the clubhouse, so we're going to get some day job merch and profiteer there. But again, Jordan is somebody who's come into the club, don't know anything about him, but he's all 2 games in, even throughout pre-season, he gets it.
This is so the thing. One of the things I took away from Tuesday was that people have already bought in to the team, which is kind of a big job for us to do. But you heard people talking to Josh Askew. You heard people when Booney put balls across, saying that's naughty Booney.
Yeah. And because I think it's because the players have bought into the club themselves. They've bought into this fan base, and they are already showing, both in that game against Whitby and this game against Bradford, that they're going to give it all. They're going to leave everything on the pitch, and that's all they ask for. When we'll come on to that second goal, but when that second goal went in, I haven't heard a cheer and atmosphere at a home game like that since we got promoted out of the North West Counties.
The one game that the Dylan Glass goal against Cleggy's Ashton United.
Yes.
Roar on that.
Yeah. And that's literally 2021.
Well, I filmed it, so that's
it's a fair way away.
Yeah.
And it was such a nice moment, because I thought, watching it back, wow, to hear that raw, to hear that passion from the fans this early on, is such a good sign. The whole thing,
when Jordan scored, I stopped. I was punching the air, because everything that we've hoped for.
Is this the second goal?
The first goal.
No, the first goal.
Yeah.
That
we knew what quality he had. Yeah. He's produced it.
And I was so pleased. I was so pleased for Chaddy and the lads too, because Chaddy and his management team have worked tirelessly to get a squad in with the limited resources that we have.
And the way that they performed and played and linked up, the young lads, no fear.
Yeah.
Passing the ball to one another, but wanting the ball.
Absolutely.
Wanting the ball. And one thought was to go forward.
Yeah, and that's it. That's true. And it was attacking football, wasn't it? And I was so chuffed for Chaddy, because I was there when we interviewed him, and he talked about this bit, and it came to reality, and he has worked tirelessly over summer to make it a reality. And all we can say is thank you already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a job you have done. We've only played 2 games, and we're saying that this squad's already going to go down in history, because you start with 2.
Yeah.
Adam Rooney and Nico. And you've built this entire squad. You've brought us Jordan Scanlon. We've already had a moment of magic, and that's great to see. And a few shout outs, I suppose, from the rest of the game, because it was a great team performance.
Every single player.
Harvey Gregson, scary. Dylan, scary. Nathan Kane at the back. You had your Jordan and your Booney.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, Jordan Fagbola, I think, is such an he's not underestimated signing, because everyone knows how good he is, but he goes under the radar a little bit, because he's so consistent with what he does. I mean, he's obviously been appointed captain, hasn't he, for the squad, which is brilliant. And we will do an interview with Jordan just to find out a bit more about him. We've played, we've seen him in a Hyde shirt time and time again, but he's such a measured centre back, isn't he? That it's almost like when the ball floats to him, and he just knows what he's doing before it's even there. Do you know what I mean? Like, he reads it so well. And there's a really good partnership sort of developing along that back 4, isn't there?
Well, so interestingly, at Whitby, we didn't know what the starting back 4 was going to be. Ben Rydell played right back.
Yeah.
I thought Ben was a midfielder.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
And then we brought Jack Evans on and pushed Ben on before Rio came on. But then on Tuesday, we started with Jack Evans, who is an out-and-out defender, and it let Ben
do his thing.
Yeah, and we saw with the second goal, Ben outstrips. So we're going to put this out on the Friday, aren't we? The wide version of the goal.
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah.
The guy he runs past is on loan from Barnsley, so he's a professional.
Right. And Ben Rydell strips past him. I mean, we'll come on to that second goal really, because it was an interesting second half, wasn't it? Because again, Chaddy said afterwards he learned, which is going to be first thing. We're going to keep using that phrase. I don't care. First 10 games we are learning, right? And he learned in that second period, because it's not that we sat back; it's that Bradford really pushed forward, didn't they?
The goalkeeper going forward.
Yeah, and so we were kind of put under this pressure, And Chaddy said in his interview, if you've not listened to it, I really listened to it. I mean, Chaddy's a really experienced defender, right? Like, he's played up to conference level, at centre-back. And I was listening to him talk his post-match, and I was like, wow, that's a really great way of insight. And he said, as a centre-back, when you're being put under pressure, you either step back, or you either push forward. And he said, naturally, your instinct is to step back. Yeah. But what you've got to do, you've got to stay calm and you've got to push forward. And he said there was a little bit of panic when Bradford started coming at us in that second period. Yeah. And he said, that's fine, that happens. But again, that's the training tonight. They will be working on stuff like that. You can see that
on the second goal, though.
Yeah.
When the ball is cleared, the keeper's in, we move out as a
pack.
So even if that ball comes back in, it's not coming into the box. It's coming 25 yards Definitely. Out. So we've got a line.
And it all starts with that Nico de Vries handsome punch, right?
Yeah.
The way he commanded his box just to launch that ball forward, nearly to the halfway line almost. Who is it that picks it up? It's Jordan.
It's Mo.
Mo picks it up, tries to knock it past the defender parries, and then is it...
I think Ben Rydell
then sort of... And at first I thought, well, Jordan's offside it, but you can see on the camera he's not as well offside.
We're in our own half.
And knocks it across to Jordan. And again, that confidence, the balls, to kind of carry it that far... Not instantly go for goal. I mean, I was behind the goal. I was going, shoot, for the love of God, shoot. But he kept calm.
Not only that, he puts it in the bottom corner.
Yeah, he keeps calm. He lets the keeper go back on his line. Lets the defenders get back. He knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Into the area, boom, bottom left. And the composure. I was flapping behind the goal. And I think it's because last season we lacked that composure.
I don't think I've ever seen that level of composure.
No, and it's...
No offence to people who've scored hundreds of goals.
Oh, absolutely. It's
a different...
it's a different beast up here, isn't it, when you're playing against Bradford Park Avenue. And I think the reason why I was flapping so much is because, I've never seen that. I've never seen that composure, that confidence. And it won't always come off.
Yeah.
It won't always come off. But...
I'm a fan of taking the shot. I know that... against Widnes, Jordan could have squared the ball to Mo.
Yeah.
I don't mind a forward taking a shot.
Oh, no, God, no. And who knows? I mean, the thing is, who knows? But Tuesday was a good celebration. It was a chance for us to actually smile and go, good on you, lad.
Just massive relief. And I was wired,
Yeah. And it was good on you, lads, because it's the new era. This is the new Colls.
And what we promised, we've delivered.
Absolutely. And what Chaddy's promised, he's delivered. And I thought, God, this is the one thing we needed, that just to sort of say, come on board.
That roar, people in Atherton heard that roar.
Oh, we said on Twitter, and the drum out at the home game now. I know that might not say. I mean, I do the drum normally, but I've got match day duty, so I kind of handed it off. And the fact that the drum was playing at a home game never happens. So there's people here that want to back this team, and all we can say is get on board. And do you know what? It's we've got a ridiculously tough start to the season, right? Whitby away, tough. Bradford Park Avenue relegated from Conference North, tough, right? Warrington Rylands, and Michael Clegg's side's going to be no turnover. Let's not beat about the bush. They've got a decent bit of money behind them. They've been able to recruit well. That's tough. Matlock Town on a Tuesday night, tough. Baseford United. Now, arguably, that's going to be probably, on paper, you'd say that's the most competitive one, right? Because they're going to be similar to us. So to already have 3 points at this stage of the season is superb. Yeah. I would have took a point out of the first three. I'm not afraid to say that.
I thought that the first 6 games were a free hit.
Yeah, I would have took a point. Yeah. To already have 3 is brilliant. And we might lose on Saturday. We might lose the next 3. Who knows? We just don't know. Obviously, we've got confidence.
We know what we are capable of.
But one thing you can say, and that's all I think we as supporters ask for, is from what we've seen against Whitby, from what we've seen against Bradford Park Avenue, they will compete. Yeah. It will be competitive. They will play for the shirt. They will play for the fans, and they will leave everything on that pitch. Yeah. And coming out of Tuesday, I thought, that's all I can ask for. Great, we've won 2-0. We've got 3 points. But the manner in which we won, I was
icing on the cake.
Chasing the game, 93rd minute to get a second goal. Yeah. What more can you ask for? And so that is going into Saturday, that's what makes me feel 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
because
you already are.
I know. Well, all right, 8 foot tall, but that's what makes me.
We were talking about this, weren't we? We didn't know how tall players were in office, and I looked at it. I was like, I look like a midget compared to Zach. I was like, I'm 6 foot tall. You must be at least 6'5".
I'm 6'2". Honestly, it's a myth that I'm.
Maybe
I'm
it's
quite,
maybe it's less.
I think it's my width as well, to be honest. But it's and that's all we can ask for, right? And that's what excites me about this season. It's got to be tough. It's got to be so tough. There's going to be high points. There's going to be low, but
that was a high.
That was a high.
That set the bar of what it can be.
And even against Whitby, right, which wasn't a high, there was enough coming out of that sort of said,
there was.
You know what, we can take that. It's fair enough. 2-0 defeat, but we've given it our all.
Yeah.
And we're not going to win every game at this level. We're not going to win every game at this level. Good grief, no. But we're certainly going to give it our best shot.
And be entertaining.
It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be competitive. We're going to give every game our best shot. We're going to be the underdogs in every game, which suits us.
Yeah.
Right. So what's going to happen on Saturday against Rylands? Don't know. Not got a clue.
But let's have a go at them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So should we look at the games we've got coming up? Because there's a bit of a fixture.
It's a crazy start to the season.
We've got Warrington Rylands,
tough.
Michael Clegg,
Ben Hardcastle, Clive Smith,
Scott Backer.
Yeah.
They'll be here on Saturday.
And they've had a funny start. I mean, losing 4-0 against Radcliffe, no shame against that. I think Radcliffe are going to win this league, hands down.
Cleggy seemed to be quite upbeat.
Yeah, following a 4-0 defeat. And then they beat, I got it wrong in the interview. I thought it was 0-0, but they won 2-0 away at Stafford Rangers.
Yeah.
Tough place to go. Good result there. So, you know what? Who knows? They're a good team.
Yeah. We've got Matlock on the Tuesday. We're both going to that. Set off early.
Don't know what to expect.
No, I don't know massive about Matlock.
No.
I think they've got 1 point out of 2 games. Same with Baseford. I think they've got 1 point out of 2 games. So they'll both be looking 1, 2, 3 points off the unknown quantity of Atherton Collieries.
Yeah.
Then it's the bank holiday Monday after that. So we've got Lancaster City at home.
So do we play Baseford and then is it 2 days later we play? Right.
Because we're the 17th today, aren't we?
Yeah.
28th is Monday.
Yeah.
28th, Lancaster City at home.
Yeah.
Again, another unknown quantity.
Yeah, I mean, Lancaster lost 4-2 against Radcliffe on Tuesday.
I think they did. I thought, again, that their manager was upbeat about it.
Yeah, and Mark Fell's a good manager. Mark Fell is a good manager, and he loves playing against the Colls from way back in his Nelson days. And he's a good manager. He'll have a good side. Scoring 2 goals against Radcliffe is a good achievement. Yeah. They're a good team, Radcliffe. So, again, who knows?
What I wanted to talk about was the FA Cup. The FA Cup starts on, I think it's September the 5th.
Is it not is it not the second that weekend? No, it can't be. It's that first weekend in September.
Is it? Yeah, it could be the second. Could be the second, but it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
The FA Cup games are this Saturday.
Yeah.
So maybe the draw is on Monday.
Yeah, it will be.
And we'll find out who our opponents are.
Yeah.
And then, if we win that, then 2 weeks after is the next round. So we could be straight into an FA Cup run. And the FA Trophy kicks off as well. And so there's going to be more games coming up.
It's going to be interesting, the FA Cup and the FA Trophy this season, because I think it's obvious. The past 2 seasons, it's something we've neglected. It's something we've not really been that interested in.
did say that he wants to win every game.
He wants to win every game. That's what I was going to say. I think from what we've seen against Whitby and Bradford, the competitive nature of this squad, I can't picture them turning up to... In fact, what we saw throughout pre-season as well, thinking back to the, turning over a 2-0 deficit against Trafford, we do not have the kind of squad this season to sort of turn up at a game going, we've got a kind of squad that's going to turn up at every game and go, let's have it.
It's because...
That's going to be loud, Sorry, everybody.
The FA Cup is the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making the first round of the FA Cup is, for a club like us, is the dream.
And the reality is, there's financial rewards.
Yeah.
There's financial rewards, and the lads know that if they get through, there's an X amount of money we get from the FA for getting through. It just goes to them. It literally goes to that. It goes to Charlie's budget. It goes to doing that.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the beast. So, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, to keep your eyes peeled to social media this week.
And just to say, we've got the two big journeys up, the Matlock and the Baseford, huge journeys. We do have this season a WhatsApp group for away travel, so if we will have transportation for every game. So if you are interested, maybe comment below saying you're interested. We'll get in contact somehow and we'll add you to that group. It's just a way of basically saying there's a coach who wants to book onto it. I think we've got a minibus going to Matlock to start, seeing how quickly that fills up, and then we've got a coach booked.
Did you hear about Whitby? One of the things is
you had an interesting journey.
Well, the coach we had booked got cancelled because of Lee being at Wembley. Every coach in the Northwest was booked.
I'm surprised you even got a coach.
Yeah, so we managed to get a coach from Stoke.
I mean, a miracle. That is a minor miracle, can I just say, because every single coach from Bolton, Atherton, Wigan, Lee, arguably not Greater Manchester, a bit of an exaggeration, but was going down to Wembley. Do you know what I mean? It was a tough ask, so well done whoever got that coach. My God, well done.
Thanks to, I should have found out the name of the company, but thanks to them.
Thanks to them.
Yeah, we'll give them a shout out on social media.
Absolutely. And speaking of companies, sponsorship.
Yeah.
We've got a variety of players. We're launching our player sponsorship. Now the season started. Now we've got to know the players a little bit more. We felt the time was right just to pause on that, because you can't sponsor if you don't know. £125 for the season. Sponsor a player. That goes direct to essentially, it goes to the club really, just to help, the funds and stuff like that. £125, you've got your name in the programme, name on the tannoy, name on the social media graphics, your name's everywhere. And it goes a long way, that £125. It goes a really, really long way. And one thing I do stress with Colls is we don't have a backer. We don't have a money man. So literally any money you spend at the club, whether that be buying a pint, buying a pie, spending money in the club shop, sponsorship, just goes straight into the club. So nobody takes that away. It just stays in the club.
I think we might sponsor someone in the name of Get Back to Your Day Jobs.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah. So it's not just us asking for your money.
No, and I think Danny Brown on the media team he sponsors somebody. Emil always sponsors somebody.
Yeah.
So I think Rob might have even sponsored somebody. I can't remember. So we all do get involved.
Danny was asking about sponsoring Rob, wasn't he?
Yes. Which
interesting. And then, but we do have also the GoFundMe, don't we?
Yes.
Which I don't know much about.
So it's a bit of a funny one. Every single football club, or not every single one, majority of football clubs have this same thing, right? Where they own the ground, but they don't own the ground. They don't own the land it's on. So a lot of football league clubs do this same thing. So we have to pay. Sort of like it's every 25, every 50 years, whatever. There's a lease renewal that basically says, right, you can continue playing on this land, and it's fine. It's routine, but naturally, with when it comes to land and property and stuff like that, there are solicitors' fees. So we've got a GoFundMe page that just helps to pay for the solicitors' fees involved in the process of securing the lease for the future of the Schooner Stadium. And it will also help to pay the lease for the future of the Schooner Stadium. It's £5,000. If we go above that, fantastic. That's just going to be reinvested into the football club. But if you can, that would be really, really helpful. Again, we're not just asking you for the sake of it. I'm going to pop some money in. Paul Gregg, the chairman's put 100 quid in already. Danny Brown's put 20 quid in. So it's all about us just kind of trying to pool a bit of money together, just for the solicitor fees more than anything, because it won't be a problem. We just need to get that form signed, really. But unfortunately, it's a very expensive piece of paper with a very expensive pen. So anything you can support to help, that would be fantastic. I think we can link the GoFundMe on the YouTube chance under this if you need to click on it. We'll ask Danny to do that, and then it's on our website too. Rob's typed a brilliant article that is a hell of a lot more eloquent than what I've just sort of spieled there. But yeah. So
have we got anything else to cover?
I don't think so.
So if anyone's got any ideas, the things they want to talk about or cover, I think I'm quite keen to people to know what goes on behind the scenes and what people do.
And absolutely, I think so. I mean, it's trying to think of other things to cover, really. I mean, 1916 Club, get involved in that helps. That's like our equivalent of a season ticket, £20 a month, but you get a free pie. I think the only thing to say really is just thank you, really, because the support, the crowd. Tuesday's game was going to be tough, and Saturday's game is going to be tough because Bolton are at home, which is something we've never really used as an excuse before. But now Bolton are starting to nigh on sell out their games, whether it be against Fleetwood or Wigan. It's a lot tougher, right? And Bradford, with all due respect, didn't travel in great numbers. I think there was about 20. Rylands never travel in great numbers. Everyone knows it, no offence at all. It's just the reality. So every bit of home support is a massive help. And so thank you for your support against Whitby, against Rylands, and then against Bradford and against Rylands, because with it being a new squad, with it being a new era, you don't know, but it's been fantastic, hasn't it? Just to see everybody back, supporting the lads, and stick with us, because it's going to be an exciting season. With unknown outcomes.
We're going to put the wide version of that goal out because you can see like the people
by the clubhouse
dancing. There's so much detail. Pick out individuals celebrating, people grabbing the kids. And
it was such a special moment, and it was an opportunity for us to say, we are the pride of Atherton. We are Atherton Collieries. We're together, and if you're not here, you're not come back from last season, whatever, just come back down, because we need you. You will enjoy it, that I promise. Saturday we're running a special promotion. If you've got a Bolton Wanderers match ticket for the Wigan game or a Bolton Wanderers season ticket, you get half price. So that's a nice little bit of incentive for you. Get a taxi over from the Reebok. It'll be worth it, I promise. It will be worth it. It's going to be a good game on Saturday.
It'll be... There's always a bit of a spice when
Cleggy's back.
Yeah.
We don't advertise it widely, but everybody knows. You know what I mean? We're not Ashley United with the El Cleggy Co, whatever they call it, but,
There's always that incentive to win.
Absolutely there is. And there is for him too.
Of course.
No hard feelings, Cleggy.
No. I still talk to Michael. We all get him.
We all get him. You came again, you came to the Southport game.
Yeah.
Supported us, stood with the fans. Can't ask for more.
No.
He is. He's a good lad, Cleggy. He's
But
it'd be good to say hello again.
It will. And then after the game, I hope he's sulking.
Yeah, he was last time, so soz Clegg, but fingers crossed.
No offence, Michael. So shall we do an episode maybe after that Lancaster game?
Yeah, I think
in
so.
the build up to the FA Cup game.
Yeah,
that would work.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we shall see you then.